Welcome to River West Flowing. I'm your host, Roger Clary, and today we're going to have an entertaining and enlightening show. We are going to be visiting with the psychic Jorianne, and she is known as the Coffee Psychic. So welcome to our show, Jorianne.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you
Thanks
for being
me.
here.
Thank you.
And for a lot of us, that are novices, maybe you can kind of explain what psychics do. Okay, why would I go to see a psychic?
Okay. All right. The reason you go to see a psychic is to get information that you ordinarily can't get for yourself. A psychic is a person that's been trained to hear subtle voices, to see things subtly that are present in people's lives, either, and again, going to the past and going into the future, but the energies that are around the people, and they tap into that energy, and then like a reporter, they will report that information to you so you can make better choices in life.
And you have a very interesting career path, sort of. I know on your website it talks about you selling Tupperware and working for a food company and stuff. And how did you get from that into psychicness? How did that happen?
Okay. Well, when I was little, I had a hit on the head, and I'd see things periodically before they'd happen. And that just became a way of being, and I just didn't know that it was anything different until people started saying, like, well, how'd you know that? And I was like, well, I don't know, right?
Okay.
So then I went into growing up, and I'd still have different experiences that would go on. And literally one day, I had been living back at my mom and dad's house with my family, and I had been cleaning up the house, and I heard these three very gentle, nurturing voices inside my head saying, that's right, clean up the house for the funeral tonight. And I was like, oh my God, why am I thinking these terrible thoughts? So I threw the broom down. Like any other normal person, I'm thinking bad thoughts, I'm going to throw the broom down. You know, this is scary, right?
Right.
So an hour later, I went to clean up again, and I heard the voices again. And I threw the broom down again. And an hour later, I'm going like, well, this is really crazy. That's dumb. This house has got to be clean. So I did it again, and the voices came again, and I said, you know what, God, if you want this house clean, you're doing it yourself. I am not touching that broom. Okay? And then that afternoon, probably about an hour or two later, my mother died in the house.
Right.
Yeah. So that was one of the huge experiences that really catapulted me into wanting to explore why I can hear and see things differently than other people could. Because at that point I realized I was hearing this differently and other people couldn't hear the same stuff.
Now, is this before or after you went to school? You went to Daly College and then to Governor State. Was this before?
This was before.
Before, okay.
This was when I was my first marriage and young mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you did go to school.
To study psychology. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and got an associate's degree, and then you went to Governor State, got a bachelor's degree. So
I didn't finish my bachelor's.
Oh, okay.
I still have time to do on that. Mm-hmm.
Coming soon. Anyway, but then you did become a certified hypnotherapist and a Reiki healer. So how did you do that?
Well, these were all the different things that I was exploring in my life. I heard about hypnosis. You know, my dad talked to us about hypnosis when we were younger, so it was an interest. And then I found out that I wanted to go in, because I was a nervous kind of gal. I was like, oh, I was always nervous, you know. And so I wanted to learn how to relax myself. So I went to take some self-hypnosis classes over at Daly College, and Carol Summers was the teacher there. And then she was telling us that we could become hypnotherapists. And I was just like, that might be fun. So I went into that. And what I learned there was, one of the ways I actually got into my psychic work later on was I learned how to take myself down into a deep altered state where I could learn how to hear internally to those little subtle voices and stuff.
Okay, that's kind of an interesting thing. Now, the other question I suppose people ask is how do these things come into your mind? Do they kind of just pop in like a flash, or does it kind of come in kind of like the fog, kind of slowly, or how do these things appear to you or come to you?
Well, mine's not a fog. Mine is more, like you said in the beginning, a flash. But I've had, God, I mean, I really wanted to write a paper about this a long time ago when I was doing my psych class, you know, how it happens for me. What seems to happen for me when I'm doing readings for people is say I'll suddenly just say, this is it, you know, switch on, I'm reading you. And sometimes I'll start to scan you. Okay, now first off I'll start with my cup of coffee and I pour cream into it and I start getting pictures from the coffee.
This is how you became the coffee person, right?
Yes, how I became the coffee psychic was because I used to drink 30 to 40 cups of coffee a day. And so I had coffee with me all the time. And my sister-in-law's cousin, who was very Hispanic, we got together, discussed different forms of divining information. And she said in the Hispanic culture, they take black coffee, pour cream into it, and I had so much coffee all the time that I just played with it.
Right.
And then people would say, I know what you're doing in restaurants.
Maybe you get a job with Starbucks. That'd be
So, but anyway, so that's how the coffee part came about. But so I read the coffee, and then sometimes I'll be looking around your aura. I'll tap into your energy field, and that's the energy field around our bodies that each of us have. And sometimes I'll see pictures around you, things like this. Or in the coffee, I'll see a broken leg, and I'll ask people, and I can show you, Roger, literally a picture in your coffee.
I hope I don't have a broken leg in my coffee. Is that okay?
We can check it out later.
All right. And so that's kind of an interesting thing of how you got started. Now you do have a radio show on the internet it's from Contact Talk Radio. So maybe you can tell us about your radio show a little bit.
Okay, well, it's newly developed, and it's a wonderful show. We talk about all different topics in the metaphysical field. We talk about aliens. We talk about Reiki healing. We talk about dreams, dream interpretation, astral projecting, how people can develop their own psychic abilities. I mean, we cover everything.
And this show is like once a week.
It's weekly. It's every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time.
And if they check the web under Jorianne, there are links to it, I know, because I was there and visited it.
Okay.
It was very interesting.
Thank you.
And you did have, I'm amazed kind of at the different diversity of topics that you've covered. You talked about ETs.
Yes.
There are 2 shows on ETs.
Yes.
Well, tell us a little bit about ETs. Are they from someplace else, or are they from here or there, or what do you know about ETs?
Oh, I'm going to tell you, I've been one of the most skeptical people in the whole world, okay? And so for me, even with my psychic stuff, it was always on the QT.
Okay.
You know, just like everyone else in this world, they have psychic experiences. It kind of startles them a little bit, and they kind of keep it quiet because they have no place to go with it. Well, I had so many experiences that I just had to keep talking about it. And I'd finally find the people to talk to with it, and then I finally said, oh, this is normal, I'm okay. And then I just totally evolved, and that's the way it happened.
Okay.
So with the ET thing, it was very interesting because there were some experiences that I had that I did not talk about. Like my first husband and I were driving down a back road in Michigan before we were getting married, and right through one of the trees, not one of the trees, but through the trees, it looked like an airplane was going to come and crash at us, and these flashing lights were coming. I'm going like, oh my God, Freddie, oh my God, oh my God. And everything stopped. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, did you see that? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what was that? He said, I don't know. Totally stopped.
Right.
Now, I don't have any memory of any time loss. I don't remember anything about that at all. But that was the one incident. It was just like, that was like the first experience that I'd had. And then I've had a couple of other experiences. And do you want me to share one with you?
Yeah, share us an ET experience.
Well, this was just so weird. It was so recent. This was, this was a couple months ago. I'd been in a restaurant. And remember, I'm still one of these people going, and I do believe in aliens right now.
Okay.
Before I might have questioned it, but now I'm totally a believer. And I really have been for a very long time. So I was in this restaurant several months ago with my one friend, Larry. And we were downtown Chicago. I'm facing this way. He's sitting where you're sitting. So there's a glass window pane behind you off of, I think it was State Street. No, it was one block off of State Street. And then here's a pillar, and here's another window pane. And as I'm sitting here going and I'm glancing out of the corner of my eye, I see a guy with a brown suit on and an alien head. And it kind of looked a little like a fish, like there were a lot of...
Scales?
Totally, scales.
Scales.
So I don't know if they'd call that the, what are those aliens called? Yes, anyway, so you've got the gray, reptilians.
Yes.
So anyway, I saw this guy with this head. I'm like, dude, oh my God. And then the pillar is there, and then I see this guy, and he's got a human head again. And he's carrying a briefcase. And then he comes into the restaurant.
Oh,
I'm like, he better not come up to me. So then he comes in, and he passes me, and all I'm thinking is, I'm like, dude, I know who you are, right? Now that would be kind of weird, okay, and I'd be thinking, well, that was kind of a great illusion. But I'm thinking, it was a very clear picture. Why would I see that? I didn't see anyone else, Roger, with fish heads on or anything like that day, okay? I'm fully awake.
Okay.
Right, fully awake. I had a lot of weird experiences being a psychic. So anyway, a week later, I'm having a dream. And in this dream, I'm in this round room, okay? And they are over there, and they were giving me an injection because they were going to operate on my knee. Now, this is very clear in the dream.
Yeah.
I'm in Virginia, which is a place that I do metaphysical work at, that I have seen spacecraft in my meditations at. And I'm there, and suddenly they are saying, wow, it takes a long time for this one to go down and get knocked out. And I'm listening to this while I'm trying to stay awake. I'm like bumping into the walls. I'm trying to stay awake. I'm trying to stay awake. And my two daughters were there, which we do have one of my daughters here today with us. But they were there, but they weren't sitting there comfortably like they were willing. They were there like this, kind of like we got to be here. But it was giving me some sense of security. So then I pass out, and the next thing I remember in the dream, in my dream still, I'm waking up at my home, and I'm going like, how did I get here? Why am I here? I was just out in Virginia. Why am I here? That was weird. And now I'm starting to get a little angry and irritated because it's like, and then I'm thinking, well, I'll bet you this is how some of those abductees feel. This is what they go
Suddenly
through.
they're someplace they shouldn't be.
Yeah, and it was weird. I can't tell you. It was the weirdest thing. And it didn't feel totally like a dream. That was the weird part.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. And believe me, I'm testing myself when I'm telling you this story. So then I literally wake up going like, wow, that was the weirdest thing I just experienced, right? So I get up to walk downstairs, and I almost fall down the stairs. I had to grab onto the railing, on both railings, the one hand railing going down and the one hand railing going by my loft, because my knee.
Oh my, yeah, they were going to do your knee, yeah.
They were going to operate on my knee.
Yeah.
And Roger, I'm not kidding you, I could not walk on my knee for 3 days.
Wow.
So what was that about? That actually, I don't know if it wasn't literally a month ago, it was just a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Very weird. And I've got it marked, I journal everything down in my book.
Well, this is good. Journaling is good. This is good.
And I looked on my leg to see if there was a scoop of skin missing. You know, they always say that they're taking little scoops of people's skin. I'm like, okay, we're checking this out.
Oh, wow.
That was weird.
That is weird. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That really is.
That was exciting. But the anger that I was left with for those 3 days when my knee was really hurting, I was going like, now these people are ticking me off, these aliens.
Right.
If this was a real experience, they were ticking me off because I really felt very violated.
Well, I can
felt,
understand.
how
And
dare you come into my
I guess
dream?
other people that have that experience with the ETs kind of feel it, that other people look at them like, you got to be crazy.
Yeah.
And nobody will believe them.
Right.
And so they feel, put on by the aliens, and they're put on by the rest of society too. It's kind of a big load to get dumped on you.
Sure.
It's kind of tough. Well, you also did astral projections, or the out-of-body experiences.
Yes, done that a lot.
And prayer power. Mm-hmm. And then how to increase your psychic power.
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be interesting to increase my psychic power. But I always thought there's a downside to that too, because you meet somebody on the street and they say, oh, you look wonderful today, and in your psychic power, they say, that person is really thinking I look like blank blank. So I don't know about that. But maybe we should introduce your friends here today,
I would
Terry
love
and
to.
George, so we find out who they are and how they got to be associated with you.
Thank you. This is my daughter, Terry. Her name is Terry Doolin, and she is a party life consultant. I'll tell you that right now. She's wonderful with her job. She loves it. And she is. And she's been my assistant for quite a while.
Okay.
Yep, she has done assisting me with some of my seminars. She's done my seances. So when I do channelings, things like that, she's there. And so Terry's gotten used to assisting me, because when I would work with people and people were starting to rush with their questions, she'd say, hang on a minute now, the spirits aren't done talking. Okay?
Right.
So Terry's been doing this work with me for a long time, and she's pretty psychic herself.
Good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes. And then George is a very good friend of mine from years. And George, I don't even know how many years.
We won't talk about
Yes.
how many years.
I guess it's going to date us or something. Yeah. But, and I hope you don't mind if I share George, but George and I got hooked back up about 3 years ago, right? And George, we hadn't seen each other for about 15 years.
Yeah.
And he suddenly tells me, hey, Joe, guess what? I'm like, what? They diagnosed me with bone cancer. I'm like, oh, great, George, you come back into my life. What, then you're walking out again? And, so we laughed about it. And George says, the doctors don't always know what they're talking about anyway, right? He says, they gave you, 16?
18 months.
18 months. And that was what, 3 years before or something? Or?
Yeah.
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 So then we started
Well,
working.
they were obviously wrong.
Obvious. That was 6 years ago.
That's from the healings.
Okay,
Yeah.
You know, I could even document it.
cool.
You know, and it's unbelievable between the Reiki and the psychic healing, the seances. You know, it took my protein. I have multiple myeloma, so you got all this protein in your blood. I went from 9,000 as of my last report. I'm down to 1325.
And lower is better, of course.
Normal is between 5 and 1,500.
Okay.
Wow.
You know, and in September or October, they told me that was it. There was nothing else they could do. I've been through the transplants and everything else. And then last week, Tuesday, I had a gigantic knot on my back, which they thought was a tumor that grew through the bone. So they said it's either that or it's a muscle, to go get a massage. I says, well, after I get out of here, I'm going for a Reiki. I went for the Reiki, got finished with the Reiki, lump was gone. I got up and walked away, no pain at all.
That's cool. Maybe you could tell us about the Reiki,
Reiki healing?
healing kind of thing. How did you get? That's not all psychics don't do Reiki healings, obviously.
No, I mean, you know, there are many different psychics, and we're all, you know, you've got some psychics that are starting out in the field, just like I did a long time ago. I've got the open mind that I'll try anything, and I want to go into anything because I believe, me personally, I believe it's all about God. And I believe that we're going to have healings and information will come through. People get messages on billboards. I mean, whatever's supposed to come into your life, just be open. It's going to come to you in any way, shape, or form. So the Reiki healings, I had gotten into Reiki because I wanted to help people, and I wanted to help people heal. So I actually started out with what was called, actually what I started out with was somebody just said you channel the energy down. And my sister had been sick. My sister had had a heart attack. She was in the hospital. So I had just started taking the white light through my crown chakra, and I just started saying the Our Fathers and Hail Marys over her body. Anything that I could possibly think of praying into her body, I did. That's what I did. And she lived another 5 years, which was wonderful. And then she's made her transition, and she still comes to visit me, which is really great. She's a great messenger. She comes and helps me out.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yes, and she actually came to see George. She actually miraculously, I was doing a healing on George, what was it, about 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 weeks ago. And my sister actually came into the room, and this was really fun, Roger, because I'm learning every single day. I want to let you know that. When I'm working with the dead, I hear noises. I hear, like, television's cracking. I hear my stereo's cracking. My fireplace always cracks. And I was just going like, oh, okay, well, we've got the dead people here, right? But this time it was so clear that I knew that this was a gateway in which people are coming in. I was in the room healing George, and suddenly we heard this big crack in the corner of the room. And it was just like, oh my God, Carol's here. And I could feel her entire presence. I could see her astral body. I see that she went and sat down at the corner of the table, at the end of the table, and she wrapped her hands around George's feet. And she was actually partaking in doing healing work with him, which I found to be fascinating. And she was doing psychic work here before she died.
How long have you been doing the Reiki healing kind of thing?
The Reiki I've been doing, oh God, I think it's probably been about, I want to say about 12 years.
But you did the psychic thing first, kind of, and that kind of led you into this.
Yes, and then I did Marielle healing.
What's that?
Marielle is a different form of Reiki healing.
okay.
Reiki healing comes from Asia. And these were high masters that had been doing this healing, and then they had passed it down to other people, and of course it's now out in America. So a lot of people are trained with this, and it's certain vibrations and certain symbols that you actually do in the etheric, and then you're placing them on the person, and you're actually working with all of their chakras. And what happens when you're doing the Reiki healings is that you're listening to your inner guidance. And the spirits will tell you exactly where to place your hands on the person's body, things like this. And the person receiving the healing has its own inner intelligence, and it will know where that energy is supposed to go.
Well, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
That is. This is not obviously for the untrained kind of person. This takes a lot of patience and training and skill, like you say, and your openness, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't just expect to become a Reiki healer overnight, really, and do it right.
Well, you know what? Can I tell you honestly?
Okay.
Everything is intention.
Okay.
So I don't want anyone in the listening audience to think that they don't have the ability to heal.
But it's not going to be necessarily easy for them to get started.
Well, it could be.
Could be.
And who's to say?
Well, right, but
Right?
not necessarily. Or either way, you're saying could be or it couldn't be.
Can I show you?
Go ahead, show me.
Okay. If you're in a state of prayer,
Yeah.
right? And of course you believe in God, and we
Yeah.
all do.
Yeah.
We're all psychic and we're all healers. Okay? Some of it probably have it more, some of us have it more than others. But if you sit here with your intention that you want to heal somebody, all you have to do is take your hands, start rubbing your hands together. Rub, 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 rub. Okay? You're gonna could you do that for me
Oh,
right
yeah,
now?
yeah.
Rub your hands.
Yeah, they get
rub,
hot,
rub, rub,
yeah.
rub, rub, rub. All right, now feel that.
Yeah.
Can you feel that?
Heat, yeah.
And now take your hands
Yeah.
and put them next to each other.
Close, close. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are you feeling?
Heat.
Okay.
Kinda.
And now, can I take your hand?
Sure.
Can I take, not just one hand,
Just one
this
hand?
one,
You
just
want
this
that
one?
Yeah.
Yep. And I just want you to tell me if you can feel anything.
I feel, yeah.
Okay, what does this feel like?
It feels like, sort of like touching without touching.
Yes, and how does this feel?
It feels like scratching without scratching.
Yeah, so that is your aura, that is your energy field. This is mine. So you know the energy that you've got a chakra right
Uh-huh.
here in the palm of your hand. And this is where the healing energy comes out of.
Oh, okay.
So remember the pictures of Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
He's got the aura, so you can feel that, right? You literally can feel that, right?
I can feel it, yeah.
Okay. And I can feel the heat from your hand. Okay, how's that? Is that weird or what?
Yeah, that's really neat.
Thank
I
you.
would say weird, but neat, kind of neat.
Unusual, yeah.
Yeah.
So people, you see these pictures of Jesus Christ, you see the, you
Right.
know, right?
Right.
Where he had the nail in his
Right.
hands and stuff.
Right.
Well, literally, it really was here,
Yes.
not here.
Right.
Most of us know that.
Right.
So, but anyway, so you've got the chakra coming out here, and this is where the energy comes from the hands. So everybody can sit there. You can practice on your plants. You can practice on your pets,
Are there other places on your body besides your hands?
where you have the different chakras. Yes,
Yeah.
you've got a lot of small chakras all over the place, but you've
Okay.
got your major 7 chakras.
Okay.
Through
These are
your-
the kinds of things you have to learn. Sort
Yes.
of. This is the part that you have to
Yes, yeah.
find
You'd like
somebody
to do
who's
that.
a mentor or a master and learn all these kinds of things.
Yes, positively.
And so that doesn't come exactly overnight.
And miracles can happen. Miracles,
We hope so.
literally. I had one lady, this lady came to, I came to the house party, and she goes, Joanne, she goes, my little kitten, she goes, he's really looking bad, would you hold him and pray over him? And I said, I would love to. And that she said, I went to the vet today, and the vet said, look, your cat's going to die. Just go ahead and take him
Right,
home
yeah.
and just love him,
Right.
you know? And it was a little tiny kitty. So I held him in my hand, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed over this kitty. And it was just like, thy will be done, O Lord, right? And he poopied in my hand. I had little kitty poopy, so he gave me a gift. Okay, that was his exchange, and then I gave him back, and he looked so beautiful, and I gave him back to her, and then she sent me a picture a year later. She goes, "This is my cat. This is the cat that the veterinarian said was going to die,"
Wow.
and he was huge.
Oh, that's cool.
He was a big boy.
That's very good.
So you know, miracles happen,
Well,
Roger.
that is exciting.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's George. We're going to find out some more about George, I think, a little later, and Terry. And now, you had known Jorianne earlier, and then kind of drifted away, and then found her later. Is that
Right, right.
You're kind of lucky that you did end up finding her later. I mean, reconnecting with her.
We ran into her in a restaurant,
Okay.
and she was living in Indiana. I was living in Illinois, and then we just met up together again. I've known her for many, many years.
But it was kind of interesting that you met up with her at a time when you really could make use of her powers and her abilities.
At the time when we met up again,
Yeah.
I didn't even know I had the cancer.
Oh, okay.
You know, this happened. It all started with a construction job site.
Oh.
You know, where I shattered my one foot, and then I had myeloma. Wait, melanoma
Yeah.
on my foot,
Okay.
and then that turned into the multiple myeloma.
Wow.
And on my skeletal surveys, it looks like Swiss cheese. You know, there's so many holes through my bones and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something you deal with.
Well, you have to, yes.
But that one seance, there was a white light. Now, I personally didn't see it, but everybody else in the room did. Okay, I was talking to the spirit, and I just wanted to get rid of my pain for a while. And the white light came right through her roof, through my head and out my feet. And I got up and walked out of there with no pain for almost 2 years.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. And now I see my doctors, I take the medication they want me to. But right afterwards, I go to Joanne's. I get the Reiki, you know, I get the healing, and it was either September or October. I've already had 2 transplants, and they said that was it. There's nothing else they could do for me. And at that time, my protein was like 3,800. So I've been up to 9,000 already. So they didn't give me much time left. And now my protein's down to less than 1,400.
So you're doing good. Well, this is
So
good.
far, yeah.
This is wonderful.
And we
And-
did hook up 2 times.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I've been
yeah.
fighting this since 2001. And they only gave me 18 months.
Yeah.
So it works.
So you're obviously a believer. You're into this.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously
I've
so.
been into this for a long time.
And that's what I should mention too. George, from a long time ago, when I was originally starting my psychic work years and years and years ago, which was 25 years ago, George was also getting involved and being interested in this. And then as some people do, they get involved in it and then they kind of just pull back a little bit and then they get involved in life.
Right.
So George's a pretty powerful guy.
That's very interesting. That's
Yeah.
cool. Now you mentioned the seances. I know on your website there, you talk about the Halloween seance that you have every year. And then you told me that you do some monthly kind of seances.
Yes.
I would think that the Halloween seance Halloween ought to be a really great time for a seance. Maybe you could tell us some experiences about those.
Well, we really do have. We have some of the most powerful seances are on Halloween because that is the day when the veil between the physical world and the spiritual world is the thinnest. Okay.
Okay.
So, and I'm not kidding you when I say this. We've had Elvis Presley come through 3 times. We've had Jimi Hendrix come through twice. We've had the Queen Mother come through.
Okay.
We've had Marilyn Monroe come through a couple times. We've had some very interesting characters come through.
Wow.
Yes, and it's really been fascinating.
Now, usually at Halloween, you probably have a fairly large group of people.
Yes, we've had up to, and George, I don't remember if that was the time that the spirits came through for you. There were 24 people in the front room, and in my great room. And when George when George came in, he was not going to ask any questions this time. He was bringing his granddaughter in, who was very psychic.
Yes.
And all I could tell, and you were asking me, how does it work for me? Let me tell you a little experience. When George came that day, he wasn't going to ask a question. And his granddaughter, Paige, was there. She was getting her information from the spirits. So I go into trance, my eyes kind of go in the back of my head, you know, my face squints a little. And my voice sometimes changes. Well, always changes. And so Paige was getting her information, and George was starting to cough. And I'm inside my head, right? The spirits are using my vocal cords, and I'm inside my head going, can somebody please get my friend a cup of water? And I'm thinking in my head, can't somebody, and their spirits are talking, and can somebody please get George a cup of water? So finally, it's George's turn, and he said, my body became drenched with water. And I was like, cool. So somehow the spirits heard, and they helped him out. And then he said, you know what, I changed my mind. I'm going to ask a question about my illness or my disease process, what's going on or whatever. And I remember the spirits coming through. I remember 3 specific angels coming through, Roger. And my energy was shifting. Every time I talked to George, it was getting higher and higher. My voices kept changing. My voices, right?
Right, voices.
My voices, that's right. I'm going like, oh, but that's what happens. And then they said, we are going to send a shaft of light through your body. Please receive this now. And afterward, and I just stayed in the meditative state, and I could see the light coming down. And then afterward, we're allowed to go around and tell people what we experienced. And almost everybody at the seance said, one lady said, I saw George get struck with a bolt of lightning. All these other women said, we saw this bubble of light surround George. And then the one time George said, he goes, well, I thought I saw some light coming in through my one eye. And then he said, I don't feel any more pain.
Wow.
But I didn't get it at that time. No. I didn't get it. And then talking to him a week later, hey, George, how you doing? He goes, I'm feeling great. I'm like, great. I'm just going like, great. And then a month later, I'm saying, hey, George, how you doing? He goes, Joe, I'm feeling great. He goes, I don't have any more pain. He goes, I have not been pain-free since 1989.
1999.
1999. Thank you. Okay.
Wow.
And it was like, wow. And then I realized what had happened.
After the fact, kind of.
After the fact.
Or so these other people had seen this. You kind of saw it.
I never seen it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there like I'm sitting here now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I felt
Obviously felt it then, and it worked.
And it worked.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is cool. Now, along with the seances, we had talked a little bit about predictions, too, that you've made some predictions and stuff. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about some of the predictions that have worked out.
Well, some of the predictions that have happened, I'm trying to remember. I had been on Melissa Foreman's radio show, and I was sitting there giving some information, and suddenly I saw this big dam starting to break. And I said, oh my God, there's going to be a big dam, and it's going to totally break open. And this was the morning that my grandson was being born, so it was actually August 3rd, the day after, as a matter of fact, the day before, I'm sorry, August 3rd of this year? Last year.
06.
06. And they called me up at the hospital, and my daughter's getting ready to give birth, and say, that dam was breaking over in, I think it was Texas or something. I'm like, no kidding, really? You know? So I'll hear stuff, and I'll just repeat it, I'll report it, and go from there. But I had heard that a gentleman by the name of Mike was going to be running for the presidency. And I heard last year.
The White Sox?
I nailed
Melissa's baby?
Oh, yes. I nailed the White Sox like it was nobody's business.
Good.
I said they were going to have one loss. They're going to have 4 more wins. I said I see a bunch of hats with stars on them. And I said we're going all the way to the top. And we did.
Yes.
Exactly just that way. And recently I said about the Bears on, this was Melissa's show also, I said we're going to have a couple of wins, and I said we're not going to make it.
Oh.
Yeah.
You do anything about this season? I mean, I can sort of predict the Cubs, but that doesn't take psychic power.
There you go.
I was thinking maybe the White Sox or somebody, or the Bulls. Have you any feelings about Chicago teams?
Well, you know what I do, but I really have to get into my little meditative state, and
Maybe a little later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get my cup of coffee and pour my coffee and cream.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we can do that sometime.
Okay.
I'd love to do that.
Well, those are interesting things. Now, we are going to do some channeling here in a minute, and before we do channeling, maybe we could explain the channeling and what channeling is and how it works and stuff like that.
Okay. So what happens for me when we do a normal seance, we set up a border of protection, okay, a line of protection. And I call in all of the high spirits. And
let me kind of stop you there. You say protection. Protection from what? What are we protecting from?
All right, quite honestly?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever seen a gangbanger or a dude that kind of carries a gun or something?
Yeah.
And would you go up to him and say, hey, dude, hey, how you doing? Or if he's looking like really angry and he's
No.
frustrated? I wouldn't either.
I know.
Okay? So my understanding is these people die too.
Yeah.
And old Uncle Harry isn't any smarter dead than he was alive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So many times when you cross over, the state of mind where you're at is sometimes where you're at, okay? And some people don't fully ascend. So we have a lot of people that are still hanging around the earth plane,
Okay.
that they're still trying to work out their issues. Some people are looking for forgiveness. Some people are trying to complete things that they didn't complete down here.
These are like ghosts, or
Ghosts,
Okay.
spirits,
Spirits,
okay?
okay.
You and me,
Okay.
okay? But I got my ticket.
okay.
I know where I'm going. That's why I tell people, get okay with yourself right here. So
Okay.
you know which bus you're getting on.
Okay.
So anyway,
So you give this circle.
so what I do, I
Okay.
just do a circle, and that is to have any unwanted guests not be present. Okay. And this way we can call. If you're going to have the president over, you're going to clean your house, you're going to polish, you're going to vacuum, you're going to wash those floors, right?
Right.
And that's what we're doing for the high spirits.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Just painting you a picture.
That's good.
Okay. So anyway, so we make this a very sacred place for God and the spirits to come in, Mother Mary, whoever will appear, which is just wonderful. And then we go into, sometimes we'll do some songs, or we'll just raise the vibrations and the energy, and then we'll go into a channeling state. And the people then around the seance table will say, hi, my name is Terry, I'd like some information from the higher spirits, you know, and then the spirits will come in and talk. And what happens for me internally is, I will raise my vibrations, you know, like they're way up there, okay? So I've got to prepare my body to kind of go to a higher level in which I can make contact with them, and then they will come down and make contact with me. So we kind of like meet
Connect,
somewhere.
yes.
We make that
So
connection.
you're going up kind of.
Yes.
Just, you know, not really, you know, but then they're coming down. So
like my astral body.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and my consciousness, things like that. So that's what we do. And then sometimes I have got to be in my body and out of my body kind of at the same time. Like say if a dead guy comes along and he's sitting here and he's telling me stuff, I might go back to this voice and say, oh, okay, your brother's here. And this is what he's saying. Or the higher spirits might come in and you'll see like a whole different, you know, voice change and face change and stuff like this.
Okay.
So it's pretty interesting.
Well, it is. Now does it help to have people that are more psychically inclined when you do this around the table and around this group, or does it matter? I mean,
It does not matter.
okay.
It's nice to have it because what they state is sometimes some people that are very psychically inclined, sometimes they can be like a battery charger,
Okay.
you know, and they just help pull more energy into the experience. But when I do the seances, what's very fun is that people in different parts of the room can either hear animals, they can hear the knocking, the sounds. Sometimes they hear kids playing over here. Other people hear music over here. We've heard the Native Americans come in, you know.
Okay.
It's been very fascinating.
Now, do you do this with just adults, or do you have kids sometimes, younger people, or?
I've actually, all of my grandchildren have partaken in seances.
And my granddaughter.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So age is not a factor.
No, she just turned 13.
Okay.
Yes.
And now, do men do this better than women, or do women do this better than men? Any?
I would say that I think it's open to both sexes.
Okay.
And I think that I've had a lot of men that come to my seances, totally. Now, women have been a lot more sensitive, but I think men are just as sensitive. So I can't say it's,
Okay.
you know.
So age doesn't make any difference. Is there anything that does make a difference? Do you
Well, when I do my seances, I don't have the non-believers.
think? Okay.
I mean, I have had people, well, let's put it this way, that's not fair. Because I have had people there and they're going like, oh my God, how did she know that? But that's even with my readings.
All right.
I'm really open to skeptics to come in there. But when I'm doing a seance, I want to be totally respectful of the people that are coming. They're going to be hearing information from their spirit guides and stuff. And somebody that would be there trying to break down the process, I don't want them in. And sometimes my spirit guides will tell me not to read somebody,
Okay.
or they will say, no on this person.
Well, in the Star Wars movies, you know, we had Darth Vader from the dark side. Do you have to guard yourself against something like that, forces from the dark side or anything?
I think that's a very good analogy. And do I think, is that out there? I think there are some energies out there that you want to be careful of. In other words, if we're saying, kids, don't do this at home
Right.
now.
Yes, right. This is right.
Right. I would say that about the Ouija board.
Oh, yes.
That's
yeah.
opening a vortex. Now, it's just a board, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know that the Ouija board gives you the directions about setting up your protection.
Right.
If I live in Florida and I'm normally in a bikini, am I going to go to Alaska
No.
in the snow?
No.
No, because it's a different element.
Right.
And I want to be prepared with the right things to wear, the right things to use.
I hear you.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me. We have about 20 minutes to go. And so you told us that it would take us about 20 minutes for us to actually do this
Excuse me.
channeling right here today on this TV show live in person.
Okay.
And so maybe we could do this.
I'm afraid I'm going to cough now.
That's okay.
Pardon my coughing. Pardon me. Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm doing now is always bless myself, and I might do a little coughing too, so pardon me for that.
She's going to center herself and ground.
Yep, ground and center. And also, I'm gonna just make a suggestion for you guys. I just want you guys to visualize that you're comfortable and relaxed, and that your feet are growing roots into the center of the earth. Roger, you can do this too, because we're gonna pull in some energy here. And just imagine that your feet are going down, and this is a grounding. This is in case a lot of excess energy comes in, that you're fully grounded. Okay, and then just wrap them around the center of the pole, the earth center. Then also let your tailbone grow down like it's a monkey's tail, and put that into the center of the earth. And then we're just going to visualize this big, brilliant, bright white light coming in through the top of this building that we're in. And it comes in through the top of your head. You just want to inhale it in, and then send it through your feet on the exhale. And then inhale the earth's energy through your feet. Just inhale it up. Send it out through the top of your head. And then inhale this white light energy in through the top of your head again. And out through your feet. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and get my chakras all charged up. We'd normally be doing ohms right now and stuff like that and singing, but we're not going to do that. Excuse me. Greetings.
Hello.
How may we help you?
Well, my name is Terry, and I would like some information from my spirit guides.
It is our pleasure to see you again, my dear.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to see you.
It is said that you must watch your driving right now.
Okay.
It is to say that the rear end of your car may meet with another's car.
Okay.
Please to take caution, please.
Okay.
Good.
Good.
Also to say to you, there is more studying that you will be doing.
Okay.
The young child at your home, male, will not get the school, will not get the program he is hoping for.
Okay.
Tell him, please do not worry. The right one is coming for him.
Okay.
And he is not done in theater work yet, you know.
Okay.
So please to inform him of that.
I will. Can you tell me what field of study he should focus on?
The medical is good for him.
Okay.
Is to say your back needs to be attended to, you know,
Okay.
to work on it. Do you understand?
I do.
Also is to say to you, your feet need to be cared for better.
Okay.
And again, more water.
Okay.
And more walking for this body is needed.
Okay. Yes.
Do you understand?
Absolutely.
Many, many, many more green vegetables. No bread, no bread, no bread.
Okay. Sorry.
Do you understand?
I do.
It is also important to check the breast area of the body, you know.
Okay.
Do this regularly.
Okay. Okay. I have one more question. When you had said earlier that I need to either go back to school or to study, what field am I supposed to be studying?
You are going to be a professional speaker.
Okay.
You will be in front of many delivering information.
That's what I thought. Okay.
It is very important to you to be in front of a crowd and to allow yourself that comfortability to deliver information.
Okay.
It may be different types of information until you get to where you need to be.
Okay.
It is also to say you want to watch your stomach, for it is giving you problems.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
I do.
So to go check this out, please.
Okay.
Good?
Good.
So nice to see you again.
Thank you. It's been a while.
It is acupuncture you are looking for.
Okay. Okay.
Go do it.
I will.
Good?
Good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Up to George first.
How may we help you?
I'd like to speak to my spirit guide.
We are here.
It's been a while since I've spoken to you.
Greetings.
I'd like to say hello to my father again.
He is watching you. He shows like a horse saddle. He makes a joke about a horse's hiney.
I'd like to know how my health is going to keep going. It's going to keep getting better.
It is to say, in the keeping of your faith, you know. It is you know more than many others. You understand this?
Yes.
You are making the changes you need to make. And everything is going according to plan. Yes?
Yes.
And you are also supposed to be starting to do some more psychic healing work yourself, my dear, which will help you alter some of your own energy systems that are in their own processing right now. Do you understand this?
Yes, I do.
You need to be going into meditation and visualizing your body in a perfect state of health. Do you understand?
Yes.
And you are to be staying away from those negative things that bother you and looking at releasing anything that you have been holding on to too long. And you are doing very well at that, you know. You are also to continue to love the unlovable. Do you understand that?
Yes.
There are those that present themselves with great difficulty in your life, but you look at them in their highest of good, and you love them as you see them for their wholeness and not their humanness. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
That is your gift. That is how you help heal other people. It is not time for you to go now, you know. When your lessons are done, you will know, and you will be at peace, and it will all be good. Do you understand this?
Yes, I do.
And you will be receiving more energy up at the back of your neck and in your head, my dear. Do you understand this?
Yes.
And you will be seeing this as green light and in golden light encompassing you. Receive that energy, my dear.
Is that the energy that's been in the car with me at night?
No, that is your father.
Is he one of the spirits that's in my home now too?
He comes to you all the time. Speak to him. He likes your couch. Good?
Good.
He would like to see you quit smoking. He says it's no good for your health.
I understand that.
This is good. He's like, somebody's got to tell you, George. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. But at least you smoke a good brand, yes?
Yes.
To say, to alter your energies as you meditate. You are to go higher and higher and higher and higher in your meditation. Yes?
Yes.
Very good. We say thank you so much.
Thank you.
God's blessings be with you.
And also with you.
You.
That's it. And now she comes back and recenters herself.
There may be information for Roger if he is so inclined.
Okay, it's Roger here. Maybe you can tell us something about Chicago. Feeling about Chicago.
It is to say it is a great city, yes?
Oh, yes.
It is a great sports city, yes?
Most of the time.
And it is to say that those who work here are the heart of the city. And many people here bring great things to keep it in a very positive energy. It is a very good city. It is to say for you that your walking is very important to you. Do
Yes.
you understand?
Yes.
And it is to say for you, you need to be outdoors as much as possible.
Yes.
And the fresh air is vital to your mental health, you know.
Yes.
It is to say to you also, a good massage or back treatments are important to you.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Oh, yes. This is good.
And it is to say your eyesight is always to be checked. Do you understand this?
Yes.
So, and like your mother, yes?
Yes, my mother, yes.
She passed, yes?
No, she's still going strong.
Oh no, then this would be either a mother-in-law, it is a mother name, a grandmother.
Could
It
be.
is a woman who is very dead and very loving around you, and she watches over you very much.
This is good.
And there are flowers around this woman. Do you understand this?
Yes.
So it is to say like this to you, it is more important that you drink your tea.
Yes. Tea. Yes, I love tea.
Yes, your tea helps your body. Do you understand?
Yes.
You are also very creative. And the creative part of yourself is coming out more and more.
Good. This is good.
And there is so much more work for you to do. And other people are coming to you wanting to work with you
Good.
to create your new projects that you are working on. Do you understand this?
Yes, this is good. Yes.
And you are supposed to be writing books, my dear. Do you understand this?
Takes work. That takes work.
It does, but it is the brilliance of which you have all of this knowledge attained, and it is that which people are thirsty for that you have to share. So you may speak to people a lot, but it is the knowledge that you have gotten that you need to share so as not to cheat them. Do you understand?
Okay. Okay.
Yes?
Yes, I understand. Yes.
And it is to say also, watch your buttons.
Okay. What does that mean exactly, buttons?
Like, should they be losing, to keep them, not to throw away the whole shirt.
Okay.
Like a metaphor, you know.
Metaphor. Gotcha.
Do not let go of something as it might be looked upon as minimal, but rather look to the wholeness of the greatness of it.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Is there anything else, my dear?
No, we have music rising.
It is beautiful music, yes?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.